how I saved almost $100,000 of my client. I don't know if people who have been observing launches, you've been seeing in Dubai, okay, launches sold out day one, sold out in a few hours. It's been the case with let's say Valley, Oasis, Phase 1. Riverside, so a couple of launches you've seen where the products sell out on day one. So those few hours, how you manage your stress levels and have your intentions very clear, I think that requires a certain amount of experience. So yes, so I had investors who were like, okay, Zohaib, I want to invest in Valley. You have my money, just take it. Because of course, look at the product; it's fantastic. It's an extremely safe bet. But then, how do you dig a little deeper, right? Let me explain this to you. Now, for example, these villas, villa number 73, okay, I can't expand it, okay. Villa number 73, 65, okay. So these were slightly bigger plots on the park. The plot size was around 3,400, 3,500 square foot. The price, because it was on the park, was around 4.1 million dirhams. Now, I remember villa number 68, villa number 60. Villa number 60 was a smaller plot. The plot was around 2,800 square foot. And the price was 3.8 million because it was on the park. Now I started looking at these pocket parks, right? So you've got a pocket park here, you've got a pocket park here. These pocket parks are beautiful. I invested in a property on a pocket park. This was in Villanova, and the price was initially around 1.6 million. I know those were crazy days in 2021, but the point is the price exponentially increased. It went up to almost 2.6 million. And it's not about the price jump. I explained in my previous video, it's not about making money on the books. Now, I have friends who are invested in the Sun. They had bought the property around 1.65. On the books, it's 2.65. But then if you have a back-to-back villa where your property is facing another property, like these are decent, but I've seen some clusters, for example, the Sun, it's literally back to back. But I'm standing in the garden, I'm looking at my neighbor. Now that's not very convenient. So, and on the day of the launch, you must understand all these property prices are very similar. So when I'm on the park, I'm getting constant calls of serious investors who are desperate to buy. Not that I want to sell. That's just an example, right? That's just an example. Now I prefer trading. I just prefer buying, selling, not having the hassle to deal with the tenant, because that's the market. You have 2 to 3 years. I've explained another video of mine. In 2009, it was only secondary market. There was no off-plan. 2013, I'll share some news reports with you. We were the pioneers in off-plan real estate. JVC, JVT, these areas were introduced in 2013. And that's when all the people with projects, when escrow accounts were introduced, they ran away. There were stalled projects. We picked up this project. We came up with the concept of a payment plan. So it just started in 2013. So over here, for example, villa number 180. 180 was a 3,100 square foot plot and was selling at 3.6 million. Now 185 was a 3,500 square foot plot for 3.5. Boom, jackpot. So that's a jackpot deal. Now this 368, for example, again, it looks like a big plot, right? Big plot right next to the paddle tennis court. It was selling at 3.4. But fact remains, right? It's on technically a street. There's another cluster coming over here. So for 100,000 dirhams, why wouldn't I pick it up on the park, right? And then I've got people who have picked up on the same price on the road, right? So it's on the launch. You need to be so extremely calm, clear, know exactly what you want. So these are the ways by which, now it's not just about the number at this stage. It's about not making money on paper. In reality, now tomorrow when the property is ready, there's a buyer. Clearly, everyone's invested close to 3.5 million dirhams. They want to sell it anywhere from 4.5 to 5 million dirhams. It's going to happen, right? Now, a person who has 5 million dirhams, he's going to look at this plot. Let's say 60. He'll look at 60, all right, at 5 million, 2,800 square foot plot. Then he comes. That's the main park. He comes, sees my pocket park property. And then he sees that, oh, it's very close to the pool. I've got a bigger plot. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's a nice place. Okay, let me buy that. So that's, you need to think end to end. Like for me, I visualize so let's say I pick up a product. So I'm an investor. I visualize my end user as well. I even go down to the point, I try to think of what nationality is going to be. Okay, Indian, Pakistani, British, European. What's the profile of the end user as well, and what is he going to look for? So you need to think end to end when you pick up a product. Phenomenal product, successful launch. I've always advocated for Valley. I think it's one of the best products in the market. But let's do a bit of comparison with Violet. So I'm going to run you through a business plan I made for Violet. It was prepared by me and Yash. Now, Yash, I was working with him since 2021. Very soon, you're going to see podcasts with me with very few members. And these are not just consultants. Some of them are even business owners, they're real estate company owners, because unfortunately I feel like the elite or the experienced brokers, most of them open up their own companies. So I'm kind of like gathering them together. I'm like, say, hey, I've got phenomenal investors, I cannot deal with all of them on my own. Let's form an alliance, let's work on them, because I don't just want to give them to brokers. I want people with my vision, who want to actually build a strong network of investors, and we make money together, right? You make money, I make money. It's a win-win situation. So let's run through the business plan. Okay, this part, we understand it's a ready community. Now to understand the location, this part as well, what's most important of this is that, okay, this is Damac Hills 2, and over here you have Valley. And I'm going to add two very important points. One is that Miras owns plots on this side, and there's something about this Ali Lahbab Road that I'll explain to you in my next slide. Okay, here. So these two things are extremely important. This Sai Al Salam scenic route. Now, Dubai, yes, if you drive towards Damac Hills, it's a lot of barren land, a lot of desert. So my first video in Damac, I said, oh my God, I can't stand the location. But then later on, the more I researched about the location, the government intends to have a lot of activities like desert camping activities. Nowadays, that's trending a lot, right? Camping in the desert, these not the normal regular camps, 5-star VIP one, really beautiful ones. So, and then they're gonna, this Love Lake they have already initiated in Al Qudra. They have, and there are going to be a lot of food trucks, a lot of family picnic spots, a lot of camping activities. I think that's really exciting, especially for families. More than an airport, I think things like these will be extremely attractive to end users. Now, second, future bigger master plan. So there's a website called Dubai Development Authority. If you access this website, you'll exactly know who owns plots. Now, if you look at the plot right opposite Valley, now I explain this to a lot of my investors that it's owned by Dubai Holdings. So if Miras comes up with a community over there, it's going to yet again add value. So these two factors are extremely important to understand about the location. That one of my favorite things, let's say comparison between Valley and Damac Hills 2, the handover of Damac Hills 2, A, it's a ready property, B, it's in 2026, means I have 1.5 years to trade. In comparison to Valley, 2028 is a bit more far off. I'll have to wait to at least the start of 2028 or the end of 2027 to trade. Over here, at the start of 2026, I'm ready to trade. So in 1.5 years, it's a much quicker trade. This is something that I will send it across to you. We've made a conservative approach, but this is purely on the launch, because on the launch, they're offering a 60/40 payment plan and a 4% DLD waiver. So on the launch, what potential conservative, how much profit we can make, and realistically, like how much profit I believe that we can make considering the market value. And now, again, my favorite part. This is the reason I was explaining Venera's launch. So same, we will be targeting on the launch of Violet. So I want to target, you see these single row villas. We've got some opportunities here. This is again single row. This is single row. I've sort of highlighted these. So these single row opportunities are the ones that I'm going to target. You must understand that right opposite Violet, you've got the mall. We were there in a previous video. I've shown the mall that's being constructed. On the other side, you have the lake, tennis court, football court, water park. So this is the water town of Damac Hills 2. I don't think this can be compared to the other towns of Damac Hills 2. It's like comparing Eden with Alana or Eden with Rivanna. Eden was launched in 2021. It was launched at 1.1 million in the valley. It's now today at 2.6 million, but it's one of the smallest townhouses ever developed by Emaar. But at the same time, now if you look at Valley, they've come up to high-end products. Alana, a 4-bed townhouse, is selling at what, 4.5 million dirhams. So it's the same case over here. You cannot compare the old products of Damac with the water town of Damac. Park Greens, hands down, is one of the best products in Dubai. Park Greens. If you study the product in Damac Hills too, phenomenal product. I've had investors, end users from Japan, US, UK, Italy pick up these units. Local, so even a doctor, I mean, she's 60 years old. She's been a surgeon over here. She's 60. Even she picked up a unit, lived all her life in Dubai. So, Park Greens, phenomenal product. So this was the idea, the Emaar versus Valley. I think the prices per square foot, Emaar, I know they mentioned 993, but that was not realistic. I think realistically it was around 1,200 dirham per square foot. Realistically, the prices are between 773 dirham per square foot all the way up to 890, which still is rock bottom compared to the market and considering the amenities you're providing. My favorite fact is that it's handing over in 2026. That gives me a span of 1.5 years to trade. 4% DLD waiver, that's again a great opportunity. Whenever I trade, the biggest hurdle or roadblock that comes is the 4% DLD waiver. So the 4% DLD waiver, a 60-40 plan. So if you study the payment plan, it's time linked up to 70% construction of the property. Then 70% construction, 70% onwards, it's construction linked. Now, almost 12%. So on 70% you're paying 4%, 80% you're paying 4%, 90% you're paying 4%. So around 12% is after the property is 70% constructed. So we can technically try starting to sell, liquidate this property after you paid 50%. You don't have to reach 60%. In fact, slightly less, it's 48%, but let's just keep it at 50%. I think this is a great opportunity. Value was fantastic. This is more of a trading opportunity, or if you are planning to move to Dubai in the future to have a house, as you saw, the scenic route, I think it's on the highway, so there's not a lot of traffic. The community is ready. It's a beautiful community, beautiful amenities. If you're an end user, also it's a fantastic product. But if you're an investor, do not miss this opportunity. I intend to pick up at least 10 to 15% stock in this particular cluster. Let me know if you're interested. Contact me on the number above and let's make some money. Thank you for watching. Mohammed Zohaib.